G'day, preview time, round 5 of the Telstra Premiership. Inside ball, Kevie and Dobbo with you. And just look, I'm going to say this now. At this moment, we are just a growing podcast. It's growing. Yeah. It's going along nicely, and we're really thankful. But what I'm going to ask all of you to do, and I'm going to bring this up continually, is if you're just finding us, share it with one person. One person, every time you see something, just share it, get a mate to follow us. You hit subscribe, you download. It's that easy with Inside Ball. You're going to get gold from this bloke, Kevin Walters. Every single week, he's like the bloke with the Santa sack. He just keeps on delivering gold, pots of gold. You saw him the other day bagging wingers. We saw that.
Well, I bet you over the weekend, let's have a look and see how many wingers can
bomb tries.
There'll be bomb tries.
Oh, everywhere.
There'll be poor passes from dummy half. Close to the try line, they throw it behind, they throw it in front.
Could we ask this before we start? Can we start a segment, and we'll have to talk to our boss, Darcy, the winger review every week, where we just highlight some absolute, and we're not bagging.
We want to be careful. Lottie Takiri.
Yeah, well, he was very good.
Fair winger. Jarrell Yowie, pretty fair winger.
Yeah, we've had 2 wingers as guests. And so what I will say, if you're just actually joining us for the first time, go and have a look and do Inside Ball. Our chat with Lottie Takiri that we dropped yesterday, unbelievable. Yeah. He's a dual international. His greatest moment, it still makes hairs on my arm stand up. Unbelievable.
Playing for Queensland.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right, let's get into it. Payne Haas.
What's in the news, mate? What do you got for us?
Yeah, Payne Haas, look, yesterday he spoke to the media and there was a story broke. If you really want to get technical, Peter Bedell broke this story last October. It probably didn't get the traction then that Payne Haas was weighing up his Kangaroos' future and whether or not he wanted to play for Australia. So he fronted the media yesterday, was really adamant that he has been weighing it up, that he would, because of his grandparents and his Samoan heritage, he's thinking about playing for Samoa. He's not going to make any decision, surprise, surprise,
until
after Origin. So, of course he's not. Yeah. Of course he's not. Then he's going to weigh that up. I'm going to start with, it is multicultural round this weekend, and we are such an inclusive sport, and our sport, and you did big with this, about getting at the Broncos, used to get all the different multicultural communities come, and their families would come, and they'd cook food, and they'd bring that. That was a big part of what you did at the club.
Yep.
So this multicultural round is big. But for me, I'm struggling with this, Kev.
Why are you struggling? Why?
If you play Start of Origin and you represent your country, which Payne Haas has done, I've never been lucky enough to represent my country. You have. But for me, the greatest honour is supporting Australia, singing the national anthem, going and watching Australia play at the Olympics. Anytime Australia's playing, we're on board. Now, he's born and bred in this country. I understand. Mate, I've got Irish heritage.
Yeah.
My grandparents were Irish.
Yeah.
But I don't identify myself or in any way would love to represent. I am born here in this country and I play that. So I struggle with why these players feel a connection to represent another country when they're Australian. That's the struggle I have with it. I get it, but I struggle with understanding it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why, because the Pacific Islander boys, they have a different connection with their community and with their families. That's what I've seen in my time in the game. So they really care deeply about where their heritage is, where it goes back to.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't. We're just Australia.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
We're Australia, mate. You know.
Yeah.
We play for Australia, but they have deep connections within their communities and their families from their grandparents or great grandparents' heritage. Then in Payne's case, he's got Samoan heritage.
Yeah.
I think he's got some. Is it Swiss as well? And might be Japanese or something as well. You know. So he's got.
But his grandparents are Samoan, and he talked about that, and he just talked about representing them.
You just think how proud his grandparents would be, right? He's put yourself in his grandparents' shoes. He's putting the blue Samoan jersey on and he's running out for Samoa. I reckon that would be a highlight of their lives, to see their grandson play for their country.
And I really get that. Right? I genuinely
And he has a choice, mate. He has a choice now. He's played for Australia, plays magnificent football for Australia, but he's got a choice now to go and have a game for Samoa. Once he plays for Samoa, though,
it's done.
He's done. He can't come back and play for Australia, but he can still play Origin.
Well, that's my next point. You agree with that?
With them playing Origin and then
going
right now, I do, Dobbo, but it's going to get to a point where who do you qualify for?
Well, Samoa's tier 2 at the moment, so I understand that. But if we're going to let them play Origin, well, Herbie Farnworth, guess what? You can come play Origin because guess where your first professional game of rugby league was? You're a Queenslander.
Yeah, well, that was in Queensland.
Yeah, so he's a Queenslander, but he plays for England. So I'm trying to get to, okay, this is getting into murky waters on the Origin. And probably the thing is I'm like, okay, Payne doesn't want to make a decision till after he's represented New South Wales. He was born in Paddington. He grew up in Newcastle. Yeah. Right? We know that. So
Paddington, which Paddington?
Paddington, New South Wales, not Paddington, not your suburb where you live, not where you live, mate, not where the rich and famous live in Brisbane. But what I'm saying is that explain to me, and I don't understand this, and I probably come from it from the fans' perspective. I'm like, okay, well, I have no dramas you playing for Samoa, but you're not playing Origin, and that's where people get very. Why can't he play Origin? Well. Why can't Herbie Farnworth play Origin? Why couldn't Sam Burgess have played Origin?
Yeah, well, there's rules around that where you play, first of all, your junior football from age 14 to 17 and then senior football. So Payne qualifies to play for New South Wales and Australia and Samoa. At the moment, that's the rules. So I guess it's up to the individual player where he feels his most passion.
Well, what do you think?
I'm okay with him playing
Origin.
Yeah. I'd rather he not play for New South Wales. But, you know, I want to see Payne Origin. I'm a fan. Put my fan hat on.
Yeah.
I want to see Payne Haas playing State of Origin. He's one of the elite front rowers in the game. Now, if we start getting too picky with the rules and eligibility, we won't have the Origin series will be deflated because the best players won't be available.
And let me just say this now: a lot of the best players are Polynesian in the game.
And you know,
from
when
Samoa.
Origin was first, I was at the first game, 1980. You know, there weren't many Polynesian. It was, you know,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. There was barely any Polynesians playing at that level.
Their body, and is made for rugby league. Their body, the way they're built, strong, fast, physical. It's made for rugby league, and that's why they're great at it. So, Origin, why take away Origin from them? I think they go and play it. I love seeing Payne Haas, even though he's got that silly. What colour is it?
Blue.
Blue.
You hate blue.
Maroon, mate.
Can we one day get into the Coach Whisperer with you? I know it's not going to happen today, but can we unpack the Coach Whisperer?
They thought we can do that
because he got
we'll get him on, mate.
We should get the Coach Whisperer on.
You'll learn something from the Coach Whisperer.
Mate, I'll learn how. Anyway, that's another day.
Story.
That's another day.
But you know the passion of Queenslanders, mate. They put the jersey on. Even way back to Peter Sterling was born in Toowoomba.
Yeah, Sam Thaiday was born in Parramatta. We could have that.
That's in Queensland, mate. Parramatta sometimes.
Kempsey.
That's in Queensland. Greg Inglis.
Kempsey. Yeah.
What about the story?
Played his whole football career, but then somehow
he chose
managed.
Queensland, mate, because that's where he felt his passion was.
Oh, come on,
But if you take Greg Inglis's tries and put them in New South Wales, say the tries he scored for Queensland, he scored them in a Blues jersey. New South Wales would be a lot better off, I can tell you. Sorry about that.
No
Good on you, GI. We love you, mate. You're
Captain
a champion.
of Queensland. Okay, we're going to leave that Payne Haas. It's going to.
I get your point though.
It will fester on. This is going to be. It's going to fester on.
It's already happening, mate. There's probably four guys already in that New South.
Critter's going to go like Steve Crichton.
Yeah, but he's already played for Samoa.
Yeah, but he can't. He can't play for Australia. No. Look, Tino.
Luai.
Tino.
Yeah.
Mate, seriously.
Mate, he's from
Gympie,
mate.
Anyway, this is what's going to, and this is where they're not a tier 1, they're not a tier 2 nation anymore. That's probably, if you've got to be fair, they're not, and I don't want to get into, it's pretty boring, but I mean, if they're going to have those calibre of players, they're a top tier nation.
Once they go, though, they go. But you know what it does do? If Payne Haas does go and play for Samoa, that opens up an opportunity for someone else in the Australian jersey, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah,
there'll be someone. They'll jump out of the ground to get that Australian jersey. Likewise, and their passion for Samoa, well, you've got to respect that, mate. You know?
All right, let's get into the preview. We'll get to Latrell and the decision on Latrell when we preview the battle, the Book of Feuds.
Yeah.
Tonight, GIO Stadium. They've had 2 losses in a row, Canberra. Now, we bagged Xavier Savage and Owen Paddy. Can Canberra win tonight against the Sharkies?
Yeah, I think they can. I reckon Ricky's boys at home, after what happened up in... And they've been on the road for... I know Ricky's made a bit about this as well, about their travel in the opening 4 or 5 rounds. It's been pretty horrible for them. I mean, Vegas round 1, then they had the week off. Then they went to Four Pines. Yep.
No, they played Brisbane at home. Then they go to Four Pines to play Manly, where Horsburgh got 10 in the bin, and they lost that game 40 points to whatever. And then went
up
to
Townsville from there. So they haven't been home for a couple of weeks, and Ricky will have them primed this week. They were a bit off up there, and they had their chances to win the game. I certainly think they could win. The Sharks, they're still finding their way, the Sharks, aren't they? Like, they haven't... That game last week at home against the Bulldogs, and they crumbled. And the Raiders play a style of football that's not dissimilar at their best to what the Bulldogs... They're in your face, very aggressive defensively, and those two, their middle forwards and the 2 edge back rowers, they're big and physical. And if they get stuck into the Sharks...
Aiden Fanua-Blake, and I mean... They've got some... Tommy Hazelton's back. There's some... They're a good side. I'm a bit with you. I think the nation's capital, full house. I just have a feeling...
Imagine Ricky winding them up this week.
Oh,
Did you just see his press conference?
Yeah.
That was classic Ricky Stewart. Loved it. He'll have them ready, mate. Don't worry about that. He'll have them ready.
No, that's valid. Okay, so we're both in agreement. We're tipping Canberra. Tarpanay, Horsburgh, Papa shouldn't have touched the ref. We've talked about that. I think that's that. The first game on Friday is pretty special. Can you believe Isaiah Yeo, takes on the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Penrith take on the Cowboys at CommBank. To all you Panthers fans, the 18,000 that packed out at Panthers Park, travel. If you love your club so much they've won 4 comps, travel. Get in the car, drive down the road.
It's not far to Parramatta.
No, it's 20 minutes down the road. If you love your Panthers so much and you say you love your Panthers so much, Nathan Cleary's back. Isaiah Yeo is the most capped Penrith Panther in the history of the club with 250 games this week. Yeah. Dobbo boy, country boy, great story.
Well, what a huge signing and player he's been, for the Panthers the last 5 or 6 years. He started as a centre, I think, didn't he, when he first came to the club? They moved him into that lock forward position, and he's Australia's number 13.
Golden Boot winner.
Captain of Australia as well. I thought last week after the loss in his presser, I mentioned this on the other podcast, he was really impressive. Like, he was calm. His thoughts were collective and also forward-thinking about this week's game. He knew that Nathan would be back this week to assist him in the leadership of the group. But I got some worries about the Panthers, Dobbo.
Against the Cows at CommBank?
Against the Cows, yeah.
Go on.
Well, it's been so inconsistent from them. They're averaging above 30 points a game in defence. Now, I remember I studied the Panthers' defence at the end of the 22 season, and I learned a lot about how they defend and why they defend the way they do. And I'm not seeing that this year because of that all the people have been dragged out of their club in the last 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
And that has to affect the combinations, and because that's a big thing in defence. On those in the middles, your 4 middles, and your 4 players on the left, and your 4 players on the right. The amount of games that they play together and the understanding that they get is critical to the defensive line. And there's different ways to defend, but when you all defend the same way, that's got to be better. And that's what they're not doing at the moment because they're all new and different, and they've been trained. Most of these kids that are playing have been training against the Panthers team for the last 4 years, not with them. And that's a difference. That's a big difference. But Nathan back is a huge in for them, but still no Edwards.
I'm starting to hear where you're going with this. Are you honestly going to back the Cowboys, who had their first win of the season last year, who have been poor?
I want to see with Nathan. If Nathan Cleary wasn't playing, I would say the Cowboys.
But who are you backing?
But I think Penrith will win, but it's going to be a tight game. And if it comes to a shootout for points, Cowboys, they showed last week. Tommy Dearden and his gang, mate, they got their guns in here in the belt. what do they call it? You're an old cowboy.
This
thing
holster.
In the holster.
Yeah, right.
Ready to go bang, bang, bang.
Just for the record, I never carried a gun on the hip, okay? I might have been in the bush. We don't carry guns.
Okay.
Leave them alone. Seriously, I'm not Liberty Valance. I'm not Liberty Valance, all right?
Mate, I did see some positive signs. I know it was...
What were they?
Last week. Dearden running the ball.
Yep.
Show and go. That Jackson Purdue, what sort of a player is he?
He's going to be elite.
He's very good.
Clifford was very good as well.
Right, Clifford picked up a couple of tries, and their fullback, Drinky's woken up, Drinky. He's back playing.
Had a baby, mate. That's what happens, mate, when you get the kid out of the way.
Well, you've got 5 of them, so...
So have you.
Yeah, but mine aren't babies. Mine are big ones now.
Hey, listen, let's throw rocks about 5 kids.
That was a good win by the Cowboys, right, over the Raiders. So I think they'll challenge the Panthers, but I'm not sure if they can go all the way. But they'll be good. Panthers will have to work.
Panthers will win. Okay, Battle of Feuds. Book of Feuds. Big game. Mate, if you're a South Sydney supporter, you're cheering. If you're a Rooster supporter, you are concerned. Latrell back to the centres. Wayne, because Campbell Graham's got a calf injury. Who do you like in this one?
I like South. Yeah, I like what Wayne's doing there. He's building that club. Mitchell back in. Huge in for them. And I love how he's brought him back in as centre. Right. I reckon that's a masterstroke from the old coach. 900 and how many games, and he's done this so many times before. When a leading player is coming back into a team, into a winning team, he doesn't always slot him into the position that he thinks he's going back into. Yep. And it's happened to me personally.
Really?
So way back in 1990, Wally Lewis was injured for the first 4 rounds of the competition. He had a hamstring problem. He came back, I think it was about round 5, and Wayne was going to name Wally as the 6 because Wally was a current Australian, 5'8", Queensland. And Wally went to Wayne and said, mate, the team's going well with Kevie in the 6 jumper. Why don't I just play 13? And Wayne's going, are you sure, Wally? He said, yeah, well, I think it's a great move. Kevie deserves to stay there.
Yeah.
And so it happened, and we had a great season. And that was one of my proudest moments as a player, knowing that the King, I'm going to hail him now, or hail the King, said to Wayne about me playing good football, he doesn't deserve to be bumped. Yeah. Keep him there, and I'll play 13. Unfortunately, it was Terry Madison who did get bumped to the reserves bench. But for me, that was a huge confidence boost. And my career just went from there. And I'll be honest, it did.
Right? Well, it certainly did.
So what's that? So you put yourself in Jai Gray's shoes. Yeah. What's that going to do for his confidence? It's going to be amazing.
I don't know if Latrell was as like you, and
as Wally.
It was Wally, but
Murray.
We haven't unpacked that you then said to Wayne at the end of 90, hey, Wayne, Wall has to go, mate. Wall has to go, mate.
Cut that out, Darcy. That doesn't need to be in there. But, no, Wally left the year after, mate.
Did he?
The end of 91, yeah. But, so I think it's a masterstroke. And you pick your best 13 and then you find a spot for them.
Who wins, mate? Who wins this
Souths are going to win that game.
Yeah.
Mitchell back in, I think, I like the way they're playing. Cody Walker's in great touch. They just got a lot of guys that are playing to their ability. And if you can get the whole team working together and playing to their ability, you're going to win more games than you lose. And that's been Wayne's philosophy. And they were brilliant last week. They'll be brilliant again tonight.
Super Saturday, and it is a Super Saturday. Quickly, Parramatta take on St George. I am going to tell you now, here's my moral of the week. Parramatta, blue and gold, never fold. You watch. I'm telling you now.
You're going for Parramatta.
I think Parramatta will beat St George.
Well, Rolls will be happy to hear that.
Yeah, I think.
Do you reckon they win?
I think they haven't won a game. They've got better every week. Just hear me out, Coach.
Yeah.
Better every week. They haven't been great. Rolls is an ex-Dragon. He wanted that job. Remember, he could have taken that job and he said, I'd decline. I don't want it. You remember that, to do a pirouette back? So Flano took over. Blue and gold, never fold.
Righto. I think I can't agree with you, Dobbo. I reckon the Dragons will continue their form from they would have got a lot out beating the Storm. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation, I was there for that game, as I said. I like the Dragons. I just think that they're very committed at the moment. They got off to a slow start, but they've found some momentum with that win last week. Gutherson, mate, going back to Para, playing against his old mob. He's got to lift, mate. He will lift.
The only thing I'll say, but I've got to be honest, I never factored Gutho into that. My theory.
Well,
maybe I might retract that. But what I would say is, there's blokes that you just wish you could have a beer with. Blake Laurie.
Yeah, but
I would love. He's on the bench. He comes back on the bench. I'd love to have a tinny with him. He just looks like the kind of bloke that would love a beer, like a real knockabout. I've asked a few blokes about it, and they said, "Oh, mate, he's one of the best."
Yeah.
So, mate, Blake Laurie, if you're ever in Queensland, mate, I'd love to shout your schooner.
Look the Dobbo up. Yeah, he played New South Wales Cup last week, and from all reports was the best player on the field. So
so he's back in the side.
That's a sign of a person with strong character and inside drive.
Yeah.
When you get the arse and you got to go back and play in the twos, a lot of players don't handle that well, but he did. So hats off to him, mate. You're probably right. He is a decent
He's proper
fella.
bloke, mate. Proper bloke, everybody says. So you're going to tip the Dragons.
I'll go the Dragons,
Two Queensland sides playing the late games, and it's a double header of Queensland teams. Let's start with Seabus. Titans, 2 wins in a row against his team. The Dolphins, they haven't had a win yet. And unfortunately, for me, Kev, I don't think the Dolphins win this one.
No, they don't. No, the Titans at home, they're an even more improved side at home. And there's been a lot of talk around Dave Fafita.
Yep.
And
what is going on there?
What Des is doing with him, right? I love what he's doing with him.
Really?
Yeah, well, have a look at his last three games, gradually getting better. Now, I reckon by about round 5 or 6, he'll start the game. Because he had some injuries in the off-season. He had an ankle and a knee problem, and so he's a big boy, and that takes longer for them to get fit. So Des is a smart man. I like what he's doing.
Do you like that roster? Do you like that Titans roster, what they've got? Have they got it right?
They have got it right, yeah. Fully fit. Really good. Obviously, their fullbacks missing.
Yeah, De Groot's a very good footballer. He was unbelievable at Ipswich, and he was there last week. But this Campbell Brimson halves combination.
I love it. They're just playing footy, Dobbo. And Brimson picked up 2 tries last week. Opportunist tries. He's an opportunist type of player. And so is Campbell, but Campbell's he's learning the trade of the 7, and he's got Kieran Foran there and Des, who was a former halfback, but not the style of player that Foran is. Foran's he could be teaching him so much, just by being at training, coaching him. Great mentor for him. And speaking to Kieran down there last week, he loves that style of it as well. Even though he can't contribute on the field because of his bicep, he's actually contributing in a huge way with those young halves, because Dobbo, they're not frightened of anything. Now, he took that intercept, Campbell. Yeah. If he misses that,
they score.
But that's instinct, and he backs himself. And you watch how they attack through the middle. Brimson especially comes. That one try he scored, I'm not sure if last week or the week before, he's come on like a middle forward, right through the middle of the ruck.
A bit of flash footwork.
So I like what they bring those two. They're a different combination to most halves, but gee, they're good to watch, and they're always at you, which is how I'd used to like the Broncos to play. Is
playing right in front.
Attack.
Tino's been very big for him. He's massive, huge. Like he's. Like we all talk about Tarpanay, we talk about these middle forwards. I mean, Tino's in the conversation.
Yeah, well, him and Payne Haas are the two.
Yeah, to me,
I think at the moment, and what he's doing for the Titans. I love his hair too. He, doesn't care about that. He just gets out there and rips in. And
he's a good footballer.
He's a good footballer.
Good leader, real good leader. Okay, why can't the Dolphins? They've been Connolly Lemuelu back.
Yeah, well, that's a big one
Fini
for them.
Fuiaki. So their edge forwards are back again. Platt's back to 13 where he should be. Gilbert's got...
Yeah, he's got a week.
I still reckon they're not playing.
I don't think they could win this week. No, they're trying hard, and they're trying hard together, but they just can't seem to get it right. Last week, against the Broncos, they had a lot of early possession on the Broncos line, and they couldn't crack them. So again, the key for them is their 9. He's got to be more creative out of there, which brings Hammer into the game. Someone said that Hammer, needs to carry the ball harder and stuff. Well, he does need to do that, but he needs to get the ball around that middle of the field, around the ruck, at tied forwards. That's where he'll pick up his points. But,
do you know what they need?
They're trying hard.
Do you know what they need?
They need a halfback.
They got
a halfback there.
Yeah, but they need another one.
Do you think one's going there?
Well, I don't know, but we'll wait and see.
It sounds like you do know.
I don't know, but I would hope that maybe they might secure another halfback in the off-season potentially.
Yeah. Well, DCE's...
Wouldn't he be good for them?
Well, he'd be good in most teams, to be fair. There's 4 or 5 clubs that would kill to have him in their team right now.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins, because they just lack a little, I don't know, a little bit of experience as well.
We will get him on this show. There's no question Daly will come on the show. But can I just give you a quick shout out, Daly? If you're even weighing up, mate, we can make you a co-host. We're happy to make you a co-host of this. If it's going to clinch the deal.
Be a third party.
We're happy to make him part of it. We're not earning a lot at the moment. But you know what? You are more than welcome to come here as a regular part of this. If that's going to clinch the deal for you to go to the Dolphins, we're all in. Yeah. Last game on Super Saturday, Broncos take on the West Tigers. Jerome Luai out for suspension.
Yeah.
Brisbane should win this. I watched them train yesterday in the wet. Jaden Hunt comes in. Piakura goes on to, because Ricky's suspended.
Is Hunt going to start or Piakura?
Piakura, I suspect.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't risk starting Hunt and Gajeski. You know. That's, if I'm honest with you, that's where if I'm West Tigers, I'm targeting their edges.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the question mark around them.
Well, again, a new combinations there. The Tigers' middlemen, May and Pole, they're the closest to, right now, to Haas and Carrigan as far as their meters and the way they play. May played
80 minutes last week.
80 minutes. So you wouldn't expect he'd be able to do that this week. You know,
he won't do it against the Bronx, will he?
It'll be much faster, no. But those two are really good block, starting block for the Tigers. But no Luai, and I know Latu Fainu, the young half that's come,
I like him.
He's a good player, but he's no Jerome Luai. You watch, because sometimes I'm not Fox on those panels, I get the dressing room shots of the teams before a game. And I just love sitting there and observing how players get ready. It's always intriguing for me as a coach.
Yeah.
Cause, everyone gets ready differently, whether it's an hour before kickoff, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, they all get ready. And Luai is the calmest person I've seen in a dressing room for a long time. He gets around the players, and it looks like to me that he just gives them so much confidence about what's about to happen. So he's brought that side together really well, and part of that is what he does on the field. Now he's not going to be there. He'll be up. No doubt he'll travel with the team, but he won't be out there in the middle in that 80 minutes. And that's, if he was playing, I think they maybe could have caused a bit of an upset. But
you're going to back Brisbane?
I'm going to back Brisbane. Yeah, I think Reynolds. I bumped into Reno the other day, sort of driving past each other, and he looks confident and happy, and he had his mad little Adam Reynolds.
He's got his new little brand. I mean,
come on,
he's better than that, isn't he?
We get an inside ball hat on there.
Yeah,
we'll give him one of those.
We should get him here as well. Okay, so you're backing Brisbane.
Yeah, Ricky's out, isn't he? So
yeah, he's out.
He's got 2 weeks to grub. Yeah. He's a grub, that Ricky.
He doesn't really think that. His hair's grubby, the gold tips. Now listen, we'll go to Sunday. Melbourne Storm take on Manly, 4 points. Storm got beaten last week. They've had a bye, they've been beaten. If there's ever a bad week to get the Storm, it's this week. Now, but Manly are very strong at 4 points.
They've been very strong. But these two clubs have a history, don't they?
Adam Blair, Glenn Stewart, punching on as they walked off the field.
I was on the assistant coach at the Storm that night, and you could just feel...
Is that right?
Because they played each other in the grand final. And Manly absolutely pumped them.
Yeah.
No Cameron Smith for the Storm. So that's rumbled on over the years. And you could feel the tension even in the warm-up, because I went down to the sideline for the warm-up, and you just see the two teams, because that's when Manly... They
had Chockwop, Mount, Glenn, Brett Stewart,
mate,
BK, they were huge.
Tough, and DCE was there. And so,
Matt-Eye, DCE, yeah.
Mate, and you could just feel the intensity before the game. So back upstairs, and then this fight started.
Yeah.
And Ryan Hinchcliffe, he had a chop or was going to chop, because he can blue, Hinchy. Don't pull him in a pub. Anyone, there's a bit of advice for you. Ryan Hinchcliffe, mate, he's a brawler from way back. Quiet, one of those quiet fellas that
they're
just
always
goes,
the unassuming bloke.
But when the beer goes down and they go, let's go, well, he goes.
He goes.
He goes. So he was sort of into it a bit, but then Adam Blair came in to sort of just, and then it just erupted, mate. So they were running off. He set him off for a sin bin.
Yeah, Blair and Stewart. And
Blair turned and said something to Stewart.
And next thing, bang, it was on.
It was on.
Blair, he threw him and missed every which way or how. And
I saw a mouth guard go flying out somewhere. And then it spilled onto the sideline. Yeah. And then some of both players from both clubs, the reserves actually got in there as well.
It was the old way.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy night. What was it like in the commentary box? Can you just, and I know we're deviating, that night you'll be able to remember Craig and that commentary box, when that's happening, does the coach like that, or is he wanting it to settle down?
Well, you want it to settle down, but you also want your players to stick up for each other.
Yeah.
If there's and back in those days, you could punch someone.
Yeah.
Without being suspended or,
Gal and Nate Miles ruined punching for the game.
Well,
it's probably a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, but I'm pretty sure they were still able.
No, you're still allowed to box on then, yeah.
So, and that was just aggressive men being aggressive, which rugby league, that's what it's an aggressive
Did you ever
sport.
hit anybody on the field?
Oh, it wouldn't have mattered if I did. I did fight once with Jared McCracken, somehow.
How did that happen?
Oh, well, I don't know. It just sort of happened against the Bulldogs. And anyway, we sort of shaped up to each other, and he just went, bang.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Lights out?
Lights out. And I'm looking around, I'm sort of on the ground. I got up, and then a bit later in the game, I stayed on. A bit later in the game, I tackle him close to the line, and he's like, bitch slapped me with his hand back, and my mouth guard flew out, and Gordon Tallis
saw it.
Was at marker.
Yeah.
He just started laughing. I looked at him and said, mate, give me a hand. He said, no, mate, you started it, you finish it.
I love that.
Yeah, he was laughing.
Yeah, I love that.
He was laughing. I thought he was going to pick him up and throw him. Or
try and help you out.
No, but he was too busy laughing.
You started because you got
You
mixed
remember
up.
Gordon? Yeah. I've never forgotten, mate.
Hey, listen, so you're going to tip Melbourne?
Yeah, I'll tip Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think, I know it's for at Manly's home ground, but no Travojevic for them. I know that they've been playing well without him, but I just like the look of the Storm after a loss. They normally bounce back pretty quickly. So,
of course, Stadium's the last game. Now, if you want to listen to Triple M on the last game, you'll get some of the best commentary ever. Kevin Walters, Ben Teo, and myself in the commentary team for the last game.
That's a big call team.
It's a big call team.
Go well.
A lot of egos in that one. But look, this game is going to be. I think the Bulldogs win, but just how impressed are you with the Dogs? They are really in a sweet spot at the moment.
4 from 4. They were impressive last week, particularly the way they came in, with each other, and they build their game together, So there's a lot of camaraderie there from what I'm seeing from the outside. I know they're down a couple of players again, but I just like them, the way they've been defending, the way they attack, they suffocate teams. So, I feel like the Knights are off the bye, they'll be fresh, but I feel like they can if they can take out Ponga, they take away a lot of Newcastle's attack, and I know Best is there as well. So it's a big night for both teams. Newcastle still trying to hit that killer blow and let people know that they're here, not to be messed with. And likewise, the Bulldogs keep that consistency. That'll be 5 in a row, which is
huge.
That's huge for them,
I hope you're right on Monday, because if not, that's the round. And once again, InsideBall.podcast. Go onto our Instagram, TikTok. Thank you for everybody. And look, Lottie Dakiri was our special guest yesterday. We've just released that. Go and have a listen. But make sure, if you could, just please share it with one person. If you like it, share it, subscribe. Inside Ball. Because we want as many people to listen. And if you've got any suggestions, shoot us a message. If you want us to interview somebody, or there's somebody you're interested in, or you got any questions for Kev, please shoot us a message.
We've got any questions this week?
Well, we might have some questions shortly, but it's our punting segment, which is back.
Yes,
which is a very big part of, and we understand that everybody likes a little flutter. What we will say is, all care, no responsibility, and gamble responsibly. What do you got for us, Kev?
Well, this is a bit of fun more than it. So we're looking for the bigger odds,
right?
This is
the one to take the missus out with Chinese on a Saturday night.
This is anytime try scorers.
Yeah.
All right. So we've picked the 4 Queensland clubs, right, and we've got a try scorer from each, and I'm going to just explain.
So this is a multi on all 4 Queensland sides that are playing this weekend.
Yeah.
Righto.
So we'll start with the Cowboys. Right, we've got Jackson Purdue to score against Penrith.
Right.
Now, Penrith's right side defence has been a little bit scrappy lately because of the ins and outs of the team.
I like that bet. I think that's a very, very...
Right, he's a try scorer.
He loves it, mate.
Jackson. So that's the first leg of it. The second leg, we're going to the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Herbie Farnworth. We're going to back him to any time try scorer, all right? Again, against the Titans defence, Herbie, he's quite hard to handle. Hasn't been given a lot of opportunities. Surely he's going to score a try sooner rather than later, right?
He's due for one.
And, yeah, he is due. And their right side defence had 2 line breaks against them last week.
Right.
So that's Herbie plays down the left-hand side.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. So get on, Herbie.
Who's going to score from the Titans?
Who do you reckon I've got here?
Loffy Camperera.
No, is he back?
No,
No, he's not back yet. AJ Brimson.
Yeah.
Picked up 2 last week.
Yeah.
He's a roamer, right? He roams around the field everywhere, and I reckon he can find some space somewhere in the Dolphins' defence over the 80 minutes to score a try.
So Purdue into Farnworth into Brimson.
Yep.
Now bring us home.
Right now,
Broncos.
I've put a lot of our man has put a lot of thought into this one. He's going for Brendan Piakura
as a try scorer. Right.
Now Brendan runs really good lines. We know that. He
scored a try a couple of weeks ago for kick. Yeah.
Right, but this is his line running. So the two old foxes. I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing on the right side, which is Adam Reynolds' side. Now Renault's got the kick option there as well for him, or the pass. So and Reynolds is leading the try assists, right, in the NRL. And this young kid on the outside of him.
Look out.
So there's your 4, Dobbo. It's paying.
You heard it.
It's paying around $90. So you'll get more than Chinese. A Chinese.
You know what?
You can afford to go to the casino.
This bloke
into the Star.
I know we can't reveal who he is, but you know who you are. But I'm going to have a little flutter on that. Purdue into Farnworth, then into Brimson, and then go across to Brendan Piakura.
It's just fun. It's fun.
Fun. All care, no responsibility. Have a couple of dollars each way. Inside Ball Cop. We'll be giving you the tips, and we will relive this on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, we will have a look at that. Now, what we have got to say to you is that please give us a subscribe. Go and download it. We can't thank you enough for the support we get. Lots of people out there. And look, if you want to be a sponsor for us, I'm unashamedly. Get in contact. We're happy. We'll promote your business, anything you want. Couple of questions, and we ask Kevie, and we'll always have questions. Does the form of the Warriors, Titans and Tigers 4 rounds in, does it surprise you?
No, not at all. It's called, all for different reasons. The Warriors were always going to fight back. I know that they lost Sean Johnson and Tavid Harris in the...
Yep.
Right? But rugby league players, with my knowledge... and they didn't have such a good season last year, like the Broncos. They got feelings. They've got a mindset that I'm going to fight back here. Which they have. We saw a fight back from them, over in Vegas to some degree, and they've been fighting ever since.
Yep. And three wins in a row.
Their win on the weekend shows us that they're back. Like they've had to fight hard to beat the Tigers at Campbelltown, and they won it with that penalty goal. So it doesn't surprise me at all. The Warriors. Second one, Tigers bought well.
Yeah, they got a good roster.
Much better. Line their team up from last year, their best 17, and line up this year. It's totally different.
Yep.
Luai is the key there. And at Suva, he's one of the leading try scorers. The Titans, again, mate, I like their halves. I like their spine. I like their forwards. I like their depth.
Yeah, they've done very well in their allegiance with it, which is good.
Poor first round against...
against the Dogs. We now know the Dogs are a premiership
pretty good
threat.
side. But they were poor that opening 20. They'll admit that. But since then, I've been nothing but impressed, particularly their defence. Now, we know they can score points, but defensively, maybe it takes, the coach. Well, it does. I know from experience. You can't just walk in and wave your magic wand and in 12 months. It takes a long time to get how you want your team to defend and the right people in the right places. And Des is doing a great job there. Mate, they'll make the 8, the Titans, if they can stay healthy.
Agreed.
All those teams will make the 8 if they can stay healthy. I don't know who else is in the 8, but those 3 are in.
Right. You've just heard it. Kevie said the Tigers, the Titans, and also the Warriors are going to be in the 8.
Right. That leaves 5.
That leaves 5.
Yeah, that's plenty.
You've got some dramas ahead of you. That's it from us at Inside Ball. We'll be back again on Monday. Kevie's cooking tips. We'll have a review of it all. We've got some special guests next week as well. Make sure you share it with one mate. InsideBall.podcast is our Instagram. Get on there, follow us, subscribe, like.
That means you've got to share as well. You got a mate you're going to share it with?
Well, of course.
Yep,
I'll make sure I'm going to share it and keep on. They've already done that. I've shared it with everybody. We'll see you again on Monday on Inside Ball.